have Anil ji with us, whom I will introduce you shortly. Uh, First of all, you know that on the Renew platform, this is the first effort, and so we wanted to have someone who is closely aligned to how we approach health, and is primarily dietary and integrative, most importantly. In fact, I chanced upon the specialization of functional medicine in my search for a doctor who's ketogenic in approach, and so I came across Dr. Hyman and many others who propagate this, which was quite aligned with how we approach health at Renew Health platform. So in that connection, I met Anil ji, who's a functional medicine coach, and he's certified from the School of Applied Functional Medicine, USA. He's also a nutrition health coach from the Institute of Integrative Medicine, USA. So most of you who know him personally, you know that he has been contributing to human health through his relentless effort to heal whoever comes in touch with him. It is not merely his profession, but an enduring passion, which is reflected in the enormous energy and he spends to educate people, to inspire people, to empower people, to activate the inner healing. Some of you who do not know me, I am someone who had turned diabetic in 2012, and I was lucky enough to have met a doctor who had a similar thinking, and he guided me. And that 1 hour meeting changed my life completely. And after that, I started going deeper and deeper in this issue. And about 3.5 years back, I started a group, which is there are about 400 people in the group, and I now also am pursuing and helping people coach one-on-one as well and in the group. So now what I would like to do is, invite Anil ji. Let's welcome him to this discussion. And I'm really excited because the more and more I've now known functional medicine, the more impressed I'm getting with it. So I'm excitedly looking for the discussion today. And so, Anilji, thing is that my sense is that functional medicine is an emerging branch of medicine. And when I look around, I don't find many people out there who are uh, functional medicine doctors. So I think let's begin with your throwing some light on the functional medicine paradigm. Please enlighten us on that count.
First of all, Gautamji, and thank you very much for hosting this, and it's my pleasure to be in touch with your group. So I welcome all your group, 400 members, and also, since it's live, everyone else who's watching. So functional medicine, yes, it's a functional medicine doctor would be a conventional doctor, mainly, means from the MD doctor, who goes further and wants to identify the cause, not only the symptom, and treat the cause. And it will involve not just looking after the disease in a reductionist way, but it will encompass the whole person. So let us say healing the person, everything will be involved totally. So in India, it's very new. I'm a functional medicine health coach. So functional medicine health doctors, I was searching on the net, and I came across in Delhi, there were from USA, from educated and affiliated to this main school, the International Functional Medicine, and they have the clinics. So it's gradually getting to be known. So the main thing is to heal the person, and it will encompass diet. It will take into account physical activity, the person's mental state, everything will be taken care of. That is functional medicine. Yes.
So it's a very, very holistic.
Yes, so, holistic, but yet having that MD, the doctor, and scientific. It's a lot involved in latest research. latest research, like let's say epigenetics, going right deep into the genetics and nutrigenomics, the part of the food communicating with our genes. So it's very abreast, very much ahead of cutting edge scientific knowledge is connected to it.
So functional
Yes.
medicine is seems like what you're describing is like a hope for us people who are, especially the way the lifestyle diseases are shooting through the roof. And it seems like a cutting edge, and as you said, right on the frontier. So how does it really differ from conventional medicine? What are the key areas of similarity or departure?
So let us take an example from cancer. Although today's talk is diabetes, but for us everything is interconnected. It's the
Right.
health user. So let us take the example of conventional oncology and a functional oncology. The conventional oncology would just be concerned about the tumor once it's found, that we have to get rid of the tumor either by chemo, radiation, or surgery. That's it. Now, a functional medicine oncologist, if it's a prostate, breast, or let's say ovary cancer, so it involves hormones. So, from the very beginning, before the treatment starts, he will first be concerned about balancing the hormones, looking into the diet. We will be knowing about the upcoming side effects. So, how to reduce the side effects will be planned. We know that chemo is going. If chemo has to be given, it will be strong, which will affect the liver. So even before the treatment starts, making the liver strong will be taken into account. If the cancer is very closely connected to sugar, so sugar from the very beginning will have to be brought right under control. So it will take care of everything, take care of the person's physical activity, mental state. She could be getting the best treatment in the world, but if mentally the person is not ready or not accepting or something is not in balance, then the treatment will not work. So everything will be taken into account. Functional oncology, conventional. Another simple example, let us say a plant. I have a pot at home with plants. Now I see my leaves are getting spoiled. Let's say, let's take the leaf to be a tumor. So one way is just to remove the leaf. That's it, and the person can, and the pot is okay. Next day another leaf falls down. I take care of that leaf. But the functional approach would be to look into the soil. What's wrong in the soil? What's wrong in the trunk or branches? That the environment, the air, maybe the water is not correct. So the entire approach will be taken care of. So for the person who's getting the treatment, not before the treatment, during the treatment, and a lifelong a plan will be made when he goes or she goes home, that they are taken care of all these things concerning the body.
Okay, thank you. So I
Entire, the
think now
whole thing.
I see. Thank you, sir. So now let's come to the topic of the day, and that is
Okay.
diabetes. And my experience has been I've interacted with many people who are obese or diabetes, and my sense is that people are not really uh, very conversant with the diabetes. They're more like sugars and I think it will be good opportunity to clear some of the notions that mistaken notions. And also, I think let's give your functional perspective, medicine perspective on this.
Okay. No, so first of all, from a functional kind of approach, we would say there's nothing as disease, it's just a name. There is some imbalance in the body, some dysfunction of some flow of energy or blood, and that is showing up as a disease. So we don't even like to use the word disease. And before I start, I just had this diagram. Uh, you see, functional medicine, how it sees like conventional depression. So you get that serotonin reuptake inhibitors, that's it. And the dose
Right.
might keep increasing. But here, depression can take place because of omega-3 deficiency, antibiotics, thyroid issues. So we have to see behind the scene. There could be one cause, inflammation in the body. That inflammation in the body can show up as depression, arthritis, so many things. So it's always functional means going behind the scene and working. So now coming to today's
Pause you for a
functional
moment. I think
approach
we
for
can put the slide on
diabetics.
one side. Nilji, I think we can put the slide on the one side, on my side, such that people can see you and also see the slide.
Yeah.
Instead of
Okay.
putting this.
So okay. So now coming to today's. Uh, Before I begin, this is where if a person wants to heal, he must have this in his mind throughout, that the body functions under a divine wisdom. Even if something appears to be wrong, it is the body's prevention trying to help us. Everything is interconnected in the body. The body's healing ability is incredible. It's always healing, always. And there is no disease, there's dis-ease. And in the functional approach, one shoe size will not fit everyone. Similarly, every person's condition is unique. He has to be handled absolutely in a separate, personalized way. It's very functional medicine is very personalized.
Right.
Okay, so now let us, before we begin, we have to know a bit about diabetes.
Right.
No, we should know, the person should know what he is, what's happening in the body if he wants to heal it. If he doesn't know, if he's not educated, the taking part of the disease is not in his hands. He's just handed it over to someone else. And if someone
Right.
would come to me as a coach, I can't do anything. I can only empower him, only educate him. And the moment he decides, he will succeed. So we have to let him know. So sugar, diabetes, yes, we eat a meal. Carbohydrates are provided in nature to give us sugar. Sugar has to get into the cells to make energy. At the moment I am sitting here and talking, I'm using energy. People are listening to this, they're using energy. We need energy. So sugar gives us, together with oxygen, energy. Insulin is the taxi, the carrier which can transport the sugar into the cell. So this is something divine made by nature. It works like that. So what went wrong? You know, glucose is needed for life. So what went wrong then? What did we do wrong? We must have done something wrong. What went wrong? These are just my shortcuts. HGRF means high glycemic refined foods. That is the modern diet people have started eating. We shifted away from what our grandparents were eating or what nature was providing us or what God was providing us. We've shifted to all these fancy foods. What does that do? That gives a spike. Insulin has to go up because there's lots of ready sugar. Insulin jumps up. Pancreas is overwhelmed, has to work 24 hours. Overproduction of insulin, and still we are not understanding it. We keep eating more and more sugar comes in. Then the liver gets involved. It has to, because extra sugar cannot be, glucose cannot be in the body. It has to pack it up. It has to package it in the liver to turn it into glycogen or triglycerides. So that liver gets busy, extra work. And sugar is very inflammatory, extra sugar. Inflammatory means, if I have some inflammation on the skin, I see it, but inside I don't see it. But there are blood markers which can very easily show there is inflammation going on, and that damages everything. And when this is happening for a long time, continuously, maybe it is the wisdom that the receptors, the doors which let insulin and glucose inside, they just get desensitized or damaged or stop functioning. Or maybe the pancreas just gets tired and says, I can't make my insulin. So that is diabetic. That is diabetes. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes years and years to happen. It can get okay also, not overnight with some one tablet. But yes, why not? Because why did this happen? We just went the wrong way. We need glucose. Simple example, roller coaster ride. How many times do we go for roller coaster rides? Maybe once in a year, twice in a year. But we are giving our pancreas and our body, the insulin system, we are on a 24-hour roller coaster ride. Just to explain, we all eat meal. The green line is when we are eating the food which was provided to us by nature as it is. A meal, glucose converts, glucose goes up. Within the range, insulin comes, turns it into energy, goes down. Insulin, food we have more, insulin comes, brings it down. Within the range, everything is okay. How much should it be? We say it should be 85, 90, not more than that, milligram deciliter glucose in the body. But the modern diet, the modern lifestyle, red, roller coaster rides, we eat very refined things, juices. So sugar spike, sugar is not extra sugar is not good for the body, it's inflammatory. Insulin comes to take it down, it goes right down, it crashes. The body feels crashed, the body is very sensitive, it feels something has gone wrong, it gets afraid, what's happening? It wants more sugar suddenly. It wants the refined sugar. It doesn't want, it won't be interested in some leaves. It'll be interested in some donuts, ready sugar. Again, insulin has to come up. 24 hours roller coaster ride. One day, the body says, sorry, I'm tired, I can't do it. So that's how it happens. And we end up in this state. Understanding what is diabetes, it happens gradually, no energy. Then we have all that quick stuff, Coke and all these things full of fructose. Fructose are another problem. So, and unlike fat molecules, which we wear on a body, again, a protection. It's a protection of our improper lifestyle. Body helps us by converting extra glucose into fat molecules. And glucose molecules cannot be stored. They have to be sent out immediately. After the insulin also can't help it. Then through urine, it goes out. A lot of pressure on the kidney, dehydration, and all those symptoms and problems what we are aware of. So sometimes we don't take it seriously. Tablet layer, okay, it's carrying on. It's inflammatory. It's affecting the whole body. As I told you, for us, anyone comes, I will we will look into his sugar first. It will affect his, because these molecules are now full in the blood, rushing around here and there, damaging, causing inflammation to the brain, to the eyes, delicate blood vessels, capillaries in the eyes, kidney, nerves, everything is getting damaged. We come across people with all these complications. But we don't realize, how did it happen? How did you let it happen? If it started 5-10 years, why did you end up over here? So that is the approach, functional, of understanding about what happens in the body. Body was not made to give us for us to get diabetes. We did something wrong. Body will not ever do anything harmful for us, for me. So that explains what is. Well, once we understand, as we go forward, then we will understand how to go back. Go back means reverse. Same way we have to go back. So what next can be?
So you said diabetes is something that takes a long time to manifest, and there's a lot that happens before that. And I think it's a whole process is, I think, 10 to 15 years process. So what can someone do to detect it early and take corrective action instead of actually becoming a diabetic? That would be much more sensible to,
Yes, that's a very good question.
that should be much more smaller, and it's easier to handle that and have a radical
Yes,
change rate.
very good question. From a functional approach, functional medicine also is proactive. Why should we end up in the disease state? Proactive. We can come to know before. The normal approach is, fasting blood sugar. Before that was the only thing, fasting blood sugar. But fasting blood sugar is okay, gives us an idea. But supposing today I have to go for a blood test, and I know a blood test is coming, and last night and one day before I was very careful with my food, it will show up well. It's on the spot, so it doesn't really help what's happening. And maybe I'm driving to my clinic. Maybe I've had a argument with my spouse. On the way, traffic light, I had to give some fine. I'm in a very bad mood. Then enter the hospital, and the hospital environment and the smell of the hospital and the white coat. My sugar is going to be high that day. Sugar will be high. So it's not very accurate thing. But now, usually the glycated hemoglobin HbA1c is taken, which is a 3 months reading from the red blood cells, which normally lifespan is 3 months. So in the 3 months, how much they get damaged by sugar? Glycated means getting damaged by sugar. So that can be picked up. So it gives us a good indication what's happening. Now, I do see that people look into it. So from that, we can come to know what's happening. And a normal way, the approach would be that the medications start off. But for that to show up, for the glycated hemoglobin HbA1c to show up as 7, 8, 9, many things are happening behind the scene. The functional approach. The functional approach, no matter who comes to me for help, I will always want to do his fasting insulin. From the triglycerides, we can come to know what he's eating, how much of junk food a person could be eating. Inflammation, very general marker is CRP. So CRP, maybe the range is maybe 0 to 10, and 9 would be not flagged. But for us, it should be, for functional approach, 0.5, 1. Other something is wrong.
For those who may
Triglycerides,
not be
100.
CRP readings, it's a test for detecting the inflammation in the body. It's a protein
General
that
inflammation.
produces to counter the inflammation.
Correct. So the normal approach, what would happen, let's say high fasting sugar, but good, high fasting sugar, but good hemoglobin marker, the HbA1c. So it's a German word that in functional, we go into the detail. The devil in German word means the devil is hidden in the detail. So these are all kind of stories you can understand. The person maybe is having some stress or some problem because his sugar seems to be okay, but recently something has gone wrong. Maybe he's under stress, or if maybe he might say I'm eating well, so stress. Other person comes along, fasting sugar, and the 3 months average sugar reading is good, but his triglycerides are very high. Means the insulin behind the scene is taking care. Is taking care and managing these markers. It's a new case, but she's getting into that stage. We can come to know beforehand. Poor eating habits, but blood sugar is low, but the person has confided that the person doesn't eat well at all, only it's junk, but sugar is good. So means it's something new. Sugar cannot be correct, means the insulin behind the scene is overworking. That's why the insulin marker helps a lot. The moment insulin is high, we know behind the scene pancreas is going, after a few months, years, going to say, sorry, I can't handle more now, that's it. So these are the behind the scene which markers which can from the very beginning give us an indication, and we can give a proper guideline to the person that if you don't take care, you will end up in and once you are in contact with the person, is with you, and is aware that the person is under a lot of stress, lot of cortisol, Stress means we need energy, so sugar will be high in the body. Energy, stress. The problem, body doesn't know stress if a lion is chasing me or something has happened. Psychological or physiological stress, always under stress, is like a drip. I'm having getting drips, 24 hours of cortisol. The sugar could be up. I may be not sleeping in time. It's time for the sugar to be low. Sugar will be up. Oxidative stress means my there's a lot of inflammation. My cells are getting damaged. That is a stress for the body. It will indirectly affect the sugar. Toxins in the body, toxins, immune system, over vigilant. Everything is interconnected. So you can come to know that this person's lifestyle and seeing the markers that he should take care of uh, his glucose sugar situation, despite the markers being okay. Insulin can give an indication, triglyceride can give an indication.
So
So
even before the
then we can,
even before the sugar
yes,
goes up, is going up, and that is something I think now the it's like a new marker now for not just the diabetes but many other lifestyle diseases. And of course, the as you're saying, the inflammation is also goes spikes because of this. So I think these when I in fact when I interact with people, if I had to just to tell them two things, one would be insulin resistance, another is inflammation. If I want to keep it very
yes,
simple for them. Yeah, so true.
yes, those two things. And of course, then there are then during this recent COVID scene, there are other specific markers for inflammation, interleukin 10, interleukin 6. So they also are checked so that we know is there too much inflammation. Then they feel perhaps it's from COVID. But those markers can also be high in cases of sugar. There are very advanced testings not available here. Here, 8-OHDG. It can test the effect of oxidative issues in the DNA. So you can know that there's too much of oxidative issue going on. And GAD65 is for type 1 diabetes. We're not talking about it together. Antibodies against the beta cells. So a person can come to know before. We can come to know before, definitely. And that is the correct time to approach it. For us, that's important. For
Yeah,
us, for functional system, just a minute. Anyone comes to me for any problem, the sugar has to be taken care of. Starting
so it is as serious as that. It's not just diabetes and
first step. No, no, no.
very fundamental.
It's just that sugar must be I, functional oncology. I saw uh, before the discussion about oncology treatment started, because functional medicine involves everything, even the allopathic medicine. Functional medicine actually is allopathic doctors. Allopathic medicine for triage is very important. So before the treatment is starting, the sugar is okay, but still the sugar medicine is being given metformin. The oncologist, functional medicine, doesn't want the sugar to be more than 85 even, or 80 or 90, because it's connected to cancer. Obesity, anyone comes in obese and says we have this problem, that problem will get taken care of. You're with your doctor, it's okay. But here, if you have come, we have to take care of your obesity. Then we will
So in this,
proceed further.
obesity and diabetes, in fact, actually are not very different. There's same thing on the same continuum. I mean, some cases may not
Everything is
benefit.
connected. Okay.
So, so that is, I mean, so we can actually really take care of our health if we have that perspective that we don't have to wait for the sugar level to go to a certain level and say now I'm diabetic or a pre-diabetic. In fact, I find some people say I'm still not diabetic, so they draw some satisfaction from it. But a much more serious thing is happening that the insulin is elevated, which has a very grave consequence on health. People say that in fact higher is probably worse than higher sugar. So, so can once person people many people who are in the group now maybe actually watching your our discussion may actually have turned diabetic. Someone like me who, of course, who reversed it, but there are many who I mean, this is what I'm saying. I reversed it, but mostly the notion is that diabetes is something which is irreversible, and not only that, it is progressive. Over the period, it will get worse. So, what is the functional medicine perspective on this?
That's another very good question. So, first of all, you said it should be controlled beforehand. For a functional approach, the reading for sugar should be 85. That's it. The range might be 85 to 100, 110. It should be 85, 90. That's it. Post prandial, after 1 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour, 100, 110, 100. I've seen people bringing it down to 100. I've seen it. Post prandial. And then glycated hemoglobin, 5.3, 5.4. 5.67 already is touching pre-diabetic. Same with insulin. 5.67 is considered normal. Functional approach is pre-diabetic. Should be 5.5. So now going to your question. Your question was that the approach. Was that the question? The approach?
That's right.
Yeah.
Or the
Okay.
I mean, the very basic
Reversal. Okay.
question is that
Okay. Okay.
diabetes it is there and you have to now suffer it and you have to just maintain your blood sugar, or can we just be free of it and feel it forever, or at least
Oh,
mitigate the condition?
see, supposing once the markers show that I'm having high sugar, so I always say the conventional allopathy for triage is a wonderful thing. Lots of developments have taken place. Is a great thing. Someone's sugar is shooting up, and the wonderful medicines are there. They bring it under control. Wonderful. But after that, it's up to you to reverse. That medicine has done its work for the moment, but the work which it has done is kind of a band-aid because it did not address the soil in that flower pot. It just took care of the damaged leaves. So it's just taking care of the damaged, let's say, cells, which is not cell receptors, not letting the insulin go in, or maybe insulin produce more. But why? The why is not taken care of. So it can be like just a band-aid effect, and the cause is still active. If the cause is still active, it is going to show up in a different form. And we know that diabetes is affecting nerves, eyes, inflammation, vessels. So heart issues can come up. Kidney, we know so many people end up with kidney problem. The cause is active, yes. And the medicines can make the markers look very good. They are wonderful medicines for immediate use, wonderful. But behind the facade, the situation is worsening because the person is under the illusion that everything is okay. And he only has to just take care of his sugar. So what he does, he just does not have sugar in the tea or something, that's it. But the rest of the food is not being taught in which foods, what sugar is there. He may be taught white sugar I don't have, but honey. Honey is good, but for him, her, honey is just refined fructose and glucose, and fructose indirectly will affect because it puts a lot of pressure on the liver. Fructose is only metabolized in the liver. So the approach, what you said, normally people would take these common medications, let us say wonderful for immediate relief. The different groups, the first one would belong to the group. The well-known medicine is metformin, I think, the well-known brand or name. I'm not so much into, it's not my area, but anyway. So metformin, what will it do? It will sensitize little bit the cell receptors to the insulin, and it will help the liver to make less sugar. So some natural things, but it's being working like that. It's helping, but the cause is not being addressed. So next, most commonly, then the next level would be sulfonylureas, which would be pushing
Let's interrupt
the
you a bit.
pancreas.
just what you're saying is that it is making these receptors sensitive. It simply means that cells which were, because there was a lot of onslaught of sugar, they refused to give, allow the entry, and now you
Could
are
be the
using a
reason.
medicine to actually shove it in a way you're forcing it in. So there would be consequences.
Yes. So for immediate relief, wonderful. Because high sugar is dangerous, coma. So it's wonderful. But long run, the patient, together with his doctor, should work out a health plan to gradually taper off or wean off because they have side effects. The next one would be the one which makes the pancreas produce more insulin. Good. But why don't we look at the factors which we just saw about the stress, about the sleep, about the food? Why not address that? It'll take too long to talk about that. So this is quick shortcut, and we can't blame the system because everyone is getting sick, so they have no time to go into lengthy discussion. So then third approach, once it's still getting bad, is to give insulin itself. And then we have many others which are often avoided because the side effects are very high. So the functional approach would be what you wanted to know,
Ji.
that when we saw that, first of all, it's holistic, means taking into account everything. And then we saw that roller coaster ride, eating the wrong thing. So we have to go reverse now. So a person who's already, let's say, suffering, his liver is under a lot of pressure. Diabetic fatty liver will always be there because it's being processed over there, lots of pressure. So normally alcohol is first processed by the liver. So let us help the liver take the pressure off. The person should maybe reduce or give up. It's up to the person. How he has to do it. We can only guide and empower and teach. He has to reduce, stop the high glycemic refined foods, which later on will show in photos, will be easy. And then reduce fructose, because high fructose, corn syrup, these things came up in America, but they indirectly also affecting, having a problem. Esoteric diets, people go into it without understanding. They read on the net. Let's say we know that ketogenic diet helps with reversing diabetes, then they can get in touch with a person like you who has researched and who has worked on it. Because just sometimes reading will not help. It can have a negative effect. So one who decides, yes, he is very, we can do it. It is possible, together with a doctor or a health coach, together can guide that person with these special diets. Increase muscle mass. Why? Because muscles use the maximum amount of glucose. So once you have muscles, even if you are sitting, your glucose which you are taking in is getting used up. It's not running around in the blood vessels. Physical activity, you need energy, so your glucose will get used up. More, anything more? Yes. The most important one, reduce stress. Because stress, if a person is under any relationship, financial or whatever it is, he must manage it. Otherwise, his cortisol, epinephrine, drips are having an effect on sugar 24 hours. Improve sleep. Sleep is a time when the hormone melatonin comes up and sugar is not needed that time. But if you can't sleep properly, body is confused that is it day, night, what's happening. It'll just start making sugar. And when it's making sugar, sugar is connected to other hormones, other things. We're talking about diabetes only, but everything is getting interconnected. Everything is going out of balance, dysfunctional. We are not using the word disease, but dysfunctional, out of balance, everything. The person can try uh, intermittent fasting. Fasting itself is very good in a way of ketogenic, is very good. But let's say it could be stressful to someone. So a person who can't do it, he can gradually start with intermittent fasting. It's a good idea. He can at least have his last meal 4 hours before bedtime, because bedtime is time for the body to recuperate, to recalibrate, to make hormones, to make immune system. So, but not to, you don't go to bed with your stomach full to do digestion. So it's a good idea that you eat 3, 4, 5 hours before your bedtime. These things are natural things. We have seen that they are very powerful things, but a person has to be proactive just for a short time, and then when he sees the difference in his body energy and the blood markers, then definitely the person will become his own master and take it into his own hands, and together with his doctor they can work out a plan to gradually wean off the medication together. It's possible. Gradually it happens. You can see the numbers changing going on at any age. Supplementation, because of a modern lifestyle, eating these kind of foods, we are missing out on lots of which actually can be checked in the blood markers if one doesn't like want to believe in it. All our vitamins A, B, C, B complex, everything, minerals, herbs, they help us a lot because, for example, liver, there is something which is very good for the liver. There is something which is good for managing the insulin sensitivity to the receptors in a natural way. There are things available all over the world. So why not use good quality along with your food? Not like medicine, but just supplementing your food. Just to give an idea, like here we have supplementation. Like let's say inflammation, everything is connected to inflammation. So curcumin max, it has five most powerful inflammatory things. Curcumin from turmeric, boswellia, number one anti-inflammatory, ginger extracts, black pepper. Then we have resveratrol. In the resveratrol, from all over the world, the best things like resveratrol is from the red grape seed extract, quercetin from fruits and vegetables, pine bark, green tea extract, grapeseed extract, all of them are together. These are all very powerful anti-inflammatory things. Diabetes is also connected with with inflammation, and also for rest of the other things. It's all interconnected. So we see that it's approach where the person needs a planned, long-term, gradual lifestyle where he must enjoy also. It's not just so. So the medicine, a functional medicine doctor is an MD doctor system. He will not go against the medicines, but he'll know when to go give, when to wean off because of the side effects, and let the body heal itself and move on. We made it happen in 5-10 years, so it starts getting okay in 3 4 5 months, 1 year, like that. It's not overnight, but yes, person can will feel better, will feel different.
So what you're saying is that there are these set of lifestyle interventions or functional interventions, which cause, or if there is aberration in it, then it causes inflammation and goes these markers to go haywire. And typically these markers are, in fact, I really like the sentence you said that, make markers look good. But essentially there's a lot happening. In fact, that's a very good insight for me. That make markers look good. So you can actually have this set of health interventions which you can correct. So if we do small changes also, and at the same time if we can offer some supplements which actually help, once you have acquired a certain level of inflammation, it could actually help it heal. So that way one can, once what I find in my 21 days of coaching, uh, that we want to give people evidence that there's a lot possible by making small changes, and you see the evidence of it comes very very fast. And that's a great thing about body, that if you give it the right maturity and stop the onslaught, even to some extent, the signs of recovery come very fast. So we thanks a lot for all this. There's a lot that you've said in the thing, and I would really love you to see that being distilled in, let's say, a couple of advice that people can right away implement. Because right now it's like it's a large number of things that we're talking about. So to begin with, what are the couple of things that people should do, and advice that people can take forward in discussion? And
Okay.
based on that,
So
then they can try to,
first of all, I would say that healing, the switch to heal is in the person. if his doctor is a wonderful person, but if he hands over everything, nothing is going to work. Together with his doctor, it is his life, his health. He has to take it in, and his doctor will help him to hand over the authority of managing the body to the person. And the person needs to be little bit educated. Education is missing here. Okay, in school you get education, then that's passed. And actually, I think where should we get education? Maybe when you enter a hospital or doctor's clinic or hospital, there should be some education department kind of letting the people know what's going on, so that yes, you can, the body is always in a healing mode. So by doing this lifestyle interventions, you are just supporting the body, you're just getting out, stepping out and going, flowing with the nature. That's it. So to take home, we would say that little bit to be aware. There are good proper articles also available on the net when a person researches, tries it on himself with the help of his doctor or his coach. He sees the results and motivation comes. And that's it. Once the motivation comes, the person is on his own path. That's the greatest thing we can do. So
Yeah.
one thing was that. The other thing was like, stress. We don't give importance to stress, but there is something called HPATG axis, that a thought in the hypothalamus will be picked up by the pituitary gland in milliseconds. On the pituitary gland, hormones will be made, released in the blood in milliseconds, will affect the adrenal, uh, pancreas, entire body in milliseconds. So the person must not say only, yes, I'm having my medication, I'm very strict with my food or whatever he understands, and yet living in stress. It is not going to work, because stress will override everything else. So stress, to let go, journaling, good thought, positivity, meditation, prayers, whatever he likes, whatever clicks with him. And I just put together some certain things to, like, a person can go home. Many times I notice people come to us, I'm eating very healthy, every morning I have 2 glasses of juices. I said, what juice? He said, no juice. And no juice at all. Because I said, why don't you have the orange? It's full of thousands of things. Why did you throw away everything? You should have had that. What you threw away, and you're just having just refined now sugar, you're putting it in. So, like, we just have in our mind sugar. And when people say sugar, they think of white sugar. So anything which is refined, ready with lots of glucose is going to spike the insulin and give that roller coaster ride. So more of whole things. And of course, definitely is understood that all these things person has to let go. All the modern things made in the package, in the factories, can be a very small part of the person's diet, but mainly he can shift to what is being provided to him by the factory of God, that is nature, whole things. Yes, there is sugar in whole things, but along with the sugar in any plant or any fruit, there's lots of water in it, there is lots of fiber in it. The content of the sugar is very less, and the body has to process it. It's not going to give a spike. It's going to be converted to glucose in the body gradually. Insulin will come gradually. It's no roller coaster ride, no crashes. That is where the problem started. So another example, let us say, of then it's very personalized. To some people, I would say, even you can't have a fruit also. Fruits are wonderful, but for you, no fruit for 3 months. So it depends. So because functional approach, personalized, one to one.
That is something very painful that I find telling people that, because diabetics need to realize that they have lost the capacity to metabolize sugar. And even though they may be getting some nutrition from it, but, they have not entitled to that sugar, or, not subject their system to that sugar.
Absolutely very correct. So I can quickly, don't want to make it long, add on to your wonderful topic. In India, we say, I don't have sugar, but I have jaggery or good. But that is also sugar. It is good. It was good at one time when our grandparents ate it, but they never sat in the chair whole day. They never went in cars whole day. They were walking whole day. So it does have some nutrients, but the better to take the same nutrients in a capsule or from green leaves, but not from jaggery, which is again concentrated sugar. It's going to give you a spike. So that people are not aware, they don't realize it. So because if correct things are going in, the body will within few months show the markers in the report. It will improve, and the person will feel different. So example here, let us say usually sugar, refined, and let us say grains, or let us say wheat have the same spike of insulin. But we always say avoid wheat for people who are having these problems. But even if the person is, let's say, having wheat, look at the spike when it is maida. Maida is just refined wheat. It's going to give a spike because the glucose is ready. Insulin has to come rushing out, day in, it gives up. Bit coarse, semolina or cracked wheat, all fancy names. And wheat, okay, will take time to bring the insulin up, but still it has a lot of glycemic load. So refined things out of the way, whole better, personalized for some people, maybe very less grains or no grains. That is only personalized possible. Education, we educate. Yeah, it shows something. This is something now for people to take home. I have come across people, they are on metformin. Metformin induces B12 deficiency. It's in the journal, it's in the research paper. So today, if you are on a metformin, then you should go to your doctor and say, please give me B12, because metformin will, and you see, diabetic people have problem with the nerves. It's anyway going to give problem. B12 deficiency, double the problem, triple the problem. B12, anyway, people lack it, but for metformin user, it's a must. You must be having it a high dose. Education, berberina plant. We also have this supplement. It's just out of stock now. We see that research is written that its efficacy use is almost as good as metformin, the synthetic medicine, and berberine is a plant. Two versatile drugs in treatment of common metabolic disease. So, bit of study education is needed, and then together with your doctor, you can work it out. Maybe okay, I'm going to have some berberine, I'll have some metformin, gradually I want to go off it, and if my doctor wants me to get okay, should be open to this. The doctor's main purpose is the Socrates what to say, oath is to heal the person. No matter what approach, like in our approach,
Yeah.
let's say in oncology or something, someone comes in and says, okay, when the operation is going to take place, I want this statue small to be there. Doctor, I want this statue to be in your pocket. A functional doctor, holistic doctor will say, 100% I'll put it in my pocket. Definitely. I'll operate you with this statue in my pocket. Yes, it's going to heal you. And it will heal the person. It's the power of faith. The doctor can't say, no, I don't believe in this thing. If he says that I don't believe in this, please keep it on the table there. I don't want to put it in my pocket. The person is not going to get okay. So these are all very powerful things. And last, to take home, to remember the key to healthy eating, to make it a bit easy and light, because maybe it could be a bit too heavy for everyone to talk. Avoid any food that is a TV commercial. No one is going to make a TV commercial or waste money on Apple or on a guava or something, but they are the real things from God's factory, you know. And uh, if nature made it, eat it as it is without damaging. Even to make a juice, I say you have spoiled it. If nature made it, eat it. If man made it, if you're not well, leave it. And there's another one, I don't have it here now. It's like, don't eat what your grandparents would not recognize. Another one would be, if you pick up a packet and in the ingredients, if you can't pronounce or you don't know what it is, please don't eat it. These are very strong, powerful, natural interventions which are very, very, very effective. A person just has to try it out. So that is was all for today. I don't want to make it too long. And this is all what I would give as a general approach. As I told you, it's personalized. And I love to, you know, help people, heal people. And my main focus target is about cancer. So there I noticed that there's so much missing to people to give them a plan. For cancer, you need the plan from the beginning, during, and lifelong. You have to work on them. It's not just after 1 year of a treatment to go back to see one result. I mean, it's okay. You go home. If it's not okay, join again for the chemo. It's not like that. It's a thorough chapter, but it's missing over here. So I hope to your members that I was worthwhile, and everyone listening was got something to use it. And let us know if more we can help in any way, do anything. Okay.
Thank you, Anilji. I think it was there was a whole lot of information there, a whole lot of insights. I think there are the breadth was a lot. There are topics which merit the full discussion by itself. Idea was to quickly give them a peek into how functional medicine people approach health, and I sincerely hope that people got value out of this discussion. Thank you for joining us for this discussion. And in future, if you want to have a specific discussion on a certain disease or something, we could in future. And Renew Health will continue to invite experts on the forum like Anil ji, and have create more value and support you in your own commitment to health. So thank you. Thanks a lot for joining, and thanks a lot, Anil ji, for sparing your time for us. We'll hope to meet sometime soon again. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
Doctor.
everybody.
Thank you very much.
Bye. All the best.